From that, let's talk politics, and specifically DA politics. The Democratic Alliance has officially opened its nomination window ahead of its elective Congress, which is set for the 11th of April this year. This comes as DA deputy leader in the Western Cape and Cape Town Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis has been nominated for the party's top position of federal leader. Hill-Lewis says he is under no illusions about the magnitude of the task as he throws his hat into the ring. His candidacy follows current DA leader John Steenhuisen's announcement that he will not seek re-election. So let's unpack all of this and what it means for the DA and the broader political landscape. I'm joined by political analyst Sanet Solomon. Good afternoon to you, Sanet. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Let's start with the name of Geordin Hill-Lewis. I wasn't surprised that it's a name being mentioned in the context of federal leader. Were you?
I don't think that it was a surprise at all. I think it's something that we've been expecting, and also you would have noted in the run-up to this announcement, there's been a lot of interviews conducted with him, and he was one of the people who indicated that he would only contest for this position if John Steenhuisen wouldn't run for DA leader. And so once that announcement was made, it kind of naturally followed that he would be making his announcement as well.
So what does his candidacy mean, though, if you read it against the context of the key message of the DA that usually goes along the lines of where the DA governs, it governs better, and campaigning on track record, and then at the same time his youthfulness. What are the implications there for the DA?
It's actually quite fascinating that you mentioned that. There's been a lot of emphasis on his age, and obviously hoping that the fact that he is a 39-year-old, it would attract a much more younger voter. There's also been a lot of emphasis in terms of the fact that he is currently a leader in the Western Cape, that the Western Cape is governed well, that the city of Cape Town is doing relatively well in terms of its governance. So those are some of the things that have been emphasized. And what was also fascinating from his discussions was the fact that he emphasized the need to obviously take the country forward, to continue working in terms of the GNU, but also to renew the party, to ensure that while it can't just lead from the sidelines, meaning being outside of the GNU, it also needs to have impact inside of the GNU. So it was quite fascinating that those are some of the key things that they are highlighting at this point in time.
And we're starting to see other people throwing their names into the ring as well. So Limsimanga, the Gauteng leader, talking about the DA federal chairperson position. And I wonder if, is it federal chair or federal council chair? Because, you know, there's a subtle difference there that comes with the degrees of power, with the federal council chair being more powerful.
Yeah, that is quite fascinating. He did mention that he was going for the council chair. I think in the run-up, we'll also have more clarity, because there was another candidate who I think is currently the deputy Minister of Finance, who's also running for one of those two positions. With regards to Limsimanga, it is quite fascinating that he has decided to run. Again, we know that he tried to contest for this position in 2018, but he was not successful. One of the key things that he mentioned is that he comes with more experience, that he would be able to transform and also to ensure that the Federal Council has more say in terms of the political party. But he also mentioned the disillusion of power. So it is uncertain what he wants to do, but he seems very optimistic, very exciting. And at this point in time, him and Geordin Hill seem to be the front runners in terms of this leadership race.
So what other names do we expect, Sanet? I'll tell you which one. I would be surprised if the name Alan Winde is not mentioned with a degree of seriousness for the leadership positions. I would really be surprised.
I actually think that that is someone who we have forgotten. I mean, a few months ago, that would have been definitely a name that we would have heard a little bit more. We know that Alan Winder also has a very good reputation within the DA. He also comes with extensive experience. He also has obviously experience leading in the political party, but also with regards to governance, which is one of the key pillars that the DA always advocates for. But it will be interesting to see whether Alan Winder would be someone that they would consider like for these kind of positions that have been the emphasis being obviously the leader of the DA and then the Federal Council chair. That was also one of the key positions. So it would be interesting to see what they're nominating him for. One of the interesting things about the nominations as well is the fact that they are trying to keep their strong people or the stronger candidates are being nominated for different positions. So it seems to be like that each position has a strong leader and that they're not necessarily contesting against each other. So it would be interesting to see whether this changes in the run-up, because we know that they still have, I think, until the 23rd of March in order for them to nominate. But that's definitely an interesting name. It would be interesting to see if some of the MPs would also come to the fourth. But again, some people tend to have more support, especially given that they have senior leaders already supporting them and advocating for them and nominating them. So it'd be interesting to see what they nominate Alan Winder for if they do end up nominating him.
So in terms of the process itself leading up to the DA's elective congresses, the processes don't tend to be as bruising as perhaps by comparison with the ANC's processes. But this year has been rather different because you've seen some of the developments we've seen in the last few months being framed by DA people themselves as having to do with the build-up to the elective conference. What does tend to happen, though, Sanet, and you will remember this, is after the Congress, that's where you start really seeing the reality setting in, that the people that were on contesting sides, some of them cannot sit compatibly within the new leadership. Therefore, the whole expression of someone going to Harvard. What are our expectations this year in terms of how bruising it will be, and whether post the Congress will it be one that leads to a unification and coherence going forward, or will we see people going to Harvard?
I definitely don't think that we would be seeing a lot of excitement with regards to that. It kind of feels like there was a sit down already where they worked out a structure saying that we are going to nominate different people into different positions. So you don't necessarily have strong contestations just yet. And so it kind of feels like they have worked out an entire national strategy, an entire strategy for the local government elections as well. And I think that this is going to be one of those where you can kind of, in the run up to, I would say, around the 20th or mid-month, you'd be able to say, okay, this person will definitely be getting this position. The other person would be getting this other position. So it would have been interesting if, for example, they said, okay, let's take Celia Brink and, for example, Geordin Hill-Lewis. I think that would have been something that would have been more exciting because, I mean, one is the leader in the city, or was a leader in the city of Tshwane, the other one in Cape Town. I think that would have made it more exciting, but it doesn't seem that that would be the case this year. They all seem to be concentrated around the kind of candidates they had. It kind of seems like they already decided who their leaders would be. I mean, if we just take like the leader of the DA position, for example, to already have the Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister of Education, and I forgot which other portfolio endorsing the leader, it basically says that there seems to be a predetermination in terms of the direction that the party is taking. And I think that's what we're seeing, which is quite different this time around. So I don't think we'll see a lot of fallout. I think most of the excitement will most probably be concentrated around the federal chair and the Federal Council.